Okay, let's get this. So, before we start, I know we had some VOD reviews a couple weeks ago when we played some ranked games. Uh,
Yeah.
have you managed to think think about what we talked about at all? Have you managed to implement it into your gameplay? Like, what does that process look like for you right now?
I'm trying to put it in a little bit, but it is hard because I'm also trying to focus on because since the start of the season, I've been trying to work on coordination as
Coordination with your teammates
as a
specifically, I
tank
assume.
and keep like in the middle of a match and like setting up. So I've been trying to do both of those at the same time. More the team coordination part, less the pathing
Yeah.
issues.
So you've been thinking a lot about macro versus rather than micro. It seems to be like
Yeah.
the team macro of how to communicate. Has has that been something that your team has been focusing on as a group pretty heavily as well?
Yeah, especially me and Cat Sniper or my or Flex is usually on like Tracer
Yeah.
or just whenever we go over the dives or whatever for backline.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's very good stuff to work on. Um Unfortunately, sometimes if your micro is too far behind, the macro doesn't even apply, and things that should work in theory just don't work because the execution's off. So being balanced is going to be important. So I think let's take a look at this. Let's see how it goes. Um, but so you've been working a
Kind
lot mentally on communication. What about communication? Just real quick, so that I can sort of get a
of
feel for
just
where you're at.
if I'm on ball, I'll use that as an example.
Okay.
I'll be like, okay, I'm like soft engaging or over slamming or hard engaging or
Okay.
going like just okay, I'm gonna go for this kill or are you ready? Like
Right.
asking Tracer if they're ready to go in.
Having that conversation. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you do that in this game? Will we be able to see that in action?
I play ball for first point, and then I swap Winston.
Because
So
so
you
there's
let me still
there's
see a
Cat
little
Sniper
bit.
with you, and you're obviously the ball. Uh, so are you guys communicating, or is it kind of off? This is a comp game, right? Or is this a scrim?
This is a match.
Oh, this is a match game. Oh.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
context would have been good there. Okay, so you guys were definitely locked in, communicating. Okay, we're looking at performance here for sure. Okay, I like the high ground
yeah.
from your Sojourn.
I didn't
This,
go in instantly just because I saw four of them there. I was like, I don't, and it was still they were still coming in, so they still had all their cooldowns.
let's see, but where was your
And then
team
I
set
made
up?
so
So obviously you guys were here on that left. Uh, you say that, but honestly, I think this is still too late though. No, because you had your Sojourn set up on this angle, right? You had, I think your Lucia, or sorry, your Tracer was also set up on this angle, like down on this angle. Let's see, we've got your Kiriko Sojourn. Like, look at this LOS they have here, right? Honestly, I know
yeah,
you were kind of worried about them having all their cooldowns, but as ball, you take the first tempo, right? Like, you go for the first hit because you're the fastest. It doesn't mean that you necessarily go for the kill initially, but you're trying to force resources. So even if you're too afraid for a slam, at least going for some sort of roll through, some sort of bait of attention, right? If you maybe you could get a setup here where you could cling onto this pillar and then swing at them at the bridge, right? So then you
yeah,
potentially have the option of booping them off this little high ground here. And when you do that, then now in order to get to on top of your Sojourn, it's like your Sojourn has the option to shoot the people who didn't get split or go down and turn attention. And then once you boop some people off, now that they're split, now you can go for an aggressive slam, right? And when you go for an aggressive slam, that's like, oh well, now my Sojourn's walking up even farther, my Tracer's walking up. You're you're trying to go for that disruption as ball. And if you're giving them the space to walk like this, then they're going to be looking at the targets they want to instead of you. When at the end of the day, you'd rather them be shooting you.
yeah.
And so yeah, you go for the slam, which is
Initially,
good. Yeah, what were you gonna say?
I think a problem I sometimes have is like I think it's mainly on flashpoint maps. Is I don't know, like a lot of the times I'll like have an idea where my team is gonna play, but it's like I don't know if they do make a rotate or like where they're staying, like that middle. where
Like
the
your
Soj was
sojourn right
standing
here.
before. I knew they were gonna be that general area, but I didn't know he was holding like that angle specifically. I think I just need to be aware of that more.
Yeah, honestly, I would say when you're thinking about the engagements to go for, try to like add that little mental checklist in your head, like where is my hit scan angle? Because you're talking about like coordinating with your tracer, and your tracer was there, like your tracer was ready to go, but where your other sojourn, where your sojourn is, right, where your long range, where your supports are other pieces of that factor to consider as well. And it literally just to yourself, if you're like, all right, the enemy's right here, my sojourn there. All right, she can shoot them. All right, let's go for something. Right, just try to make that as quick as possible when you're like taking a look, because it'll determine how aggressive you can be. Right. I
Yeah.
like your slams. It was good to force out the Kiri. Like I like the ideas of them, but there's more plays to go for. You know, like if hmm, what do you think about that fight? Let me put it that way. Like from your perspective, how did that feel? What did you think about it?
I mean, it felt like nothing like necessarily happened. We just still lost the fight. Like I think it's like I was too late to make an engage, so they kind of already forced my team out, and their comp is a lot better with doing that.
Yeah. By the time they get into this Reaper teleport range, Shutter is already used um, slide, and because there was no pressure, the Reaper was allowed to make the punish onto that Soj play, where she only felt the need to slide upwards because they had walked up. So yeah, it's that cascading effect, like you say. They just kind of once they get this value, it's just too late now. Okay, so that's one fight. So they're taking tempo again. You're forcing point, or Tracer's forcing point. You guys are both. Looks like Cat Sniper's getting forced out though. Yeah, that's what's going on. Okay, so you guys walk point. This is fine. Um, okay. You go for the slam on Kiri, and then as
I
that
should have
happens,
immediately turned on Lucio or one of them.
I don't mind you committing for the Kiri. Here, I think your Tracer needs to like run, like play for life though in this scenario. Oh, so you wanted a VOD review. Like I'm going by based off of what I see, but like was there anything specifically you wanted to talk about as well?
I don't think so. I just haven't like other than like learning about team coordination and the thing with pathing.
Right.
I feel like especially with me being the tank, I feel like I'm not doing as much as I should be doing in
Hmm.
these matches. And it's not a good feeling because you know
I know what you
I
mean.
just know there's something I definitely need to be doing at all times, but it's just like I don't sometimes I just don't know what. And on Flashpoint, I think I I guess ever since they like changed they increased the or they decreased the time it takes to cap, the points just throw me off sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair.
I'm still not used to that. But yeah, I think it's like on payload, I'm fine. On control, I'm fine. On hybrid, I'm fine. But it's just Flashpoint with me, where it's like my engages are always off.
The setups are usually a little less ritual, I'd say. Like because you can always take really strange engagements with a flank on a flank, right? Especially on a point
Yeah,
like this where you expressed that exact confusion, like you didn't know where your sojourn was. Where on other maps it'd be like one, two high grounds they could play on.
it's like a straight line or just like two different angles.
Circuit Royale type behavior, yeah, right? Like literally just stand there.
And I was so focused on. I'm still at a point of ball where I'm like so focused on just not inting on it,
Yep, yeah.
where I'm like struggling to just think about those things.
Yeah. Yeah, it can definitely overload the brain.
I think every time we played Cervasa in a match and I went ball first point, we always lost first point.
So what do you think your goal is as ball whenever you play him?
Like you said, just disruption, and then there's a big emphasis on coordinating with your or whoever can shoot the back line to get that follow up because you can't really kill anyone without follow up.
Yeah, yeah. So getting those setups, getting the disruption, using the disruption to get the setups.
I think I always do the setup. I do it in the wrong order where I go for go for the attempt at the follow up for a kill, but and then I do the disruption when I should be doing the disruption first most of the time.
Yeah, sometimes you can just start out by like rolling into them and seeing what happens, right? Like sometimes you can get away with like I'm gonna roll through with one fireball, right? And then you get your cooldown back from this angle, and then you roll through them again, right? And then you like drop off
Yeah,
this way, and then you get your cooldown again, and then you could like go for a slam, right? It's death by a
yeah,
thousand
yeah.
cuts. That's typically what Dive will be going for, right?
Yeah.
Did you notice
It's
something
the
about
speed.
your attention and what you were looking at 3 times over the course of like these past few fights?
I
No,
haven't really focused on the Kiri.
yes, yeah. I noticed basically every single time you were looking at the Kiri, which I don't necessarily think is wrong. But I want you to sort of expand your vocabulary of the plays that you can go for as ball, depending on the situation that you're in, because oftentimes ball is a lot more opportunist, and I find that his strength is catching out any target that is split. So like if you can anticipate moments where they're going to be splitting from their team, you could potentially get a lot of value because going for a slam on someone who's completely isolated from their team is a lot different because it's harder to get Suzu, it's harder to get the bubble, it's harder to get speed amp, right? Uh,
Hmm.
and I don't think going for Kiri is necessarily going to be bad in a lot of situations, but if you look at it here, if we're talking about thinking about it in terms of isolated targets, who's the isolated target right now?
Are you including the tracer in that?
Oh, I'm
Following the back?
100% shooting, including this Tracer. I'm 100% including her because she's so far from her team, right?
I think I just did it. I don't want to blame it on my team, but sometimes maybe it's just me
This
still
is an
focused on gameplay
incredibly
that I
hard
don't
play to
hear him.
make. This is an incredibly hard play to make in the moment because psychologically
Yeah,
speaking, you've got all these enemies in front of you. You're gonna be thinking about the guy who's literally halfway across the state. Like,
yeah. I'm too worried about not dying to the 4 people in front of me.
right, right.
That
Psychologically speaking, like it's clear why that would be difficult. Um, and it's not even necessarily bad for you to draw their attention, but if you realize like okay, the Tracer, let's say it's one thing to know she's not with her team, right? Let's say she was actively taking the engagement on your backline, right? She was actively taking that fight and your Tracer was there, right? Imagine that your team was like there taking that fight. What do you think you should do even if you're right here? Like let's go back
poker
to the
or
scenario where there was like 4 people right here and you're going for this, right? What should do you think that you should be attacking these guys or going to deal with the Tracer yourself? In the scenario that I described, like Tracer's actively taking that duel with your backline.
I, I should be going to help deal with the tracer quickly.
I would say in this scenario you're just probably too far to do so. The way you can actually help your team take that fight in a different way, and it's very close to what you actually did. But I would change one thing about your mindset when taking this engagement because what was your mindset when you went for this?
To get cooldowns up from the Kiri.
Right, to force the Kiri, try to go for like hard aggro, like force them to turn their attention, and you end up doing that. Like I think did they Suzu actually? They did Suzu. They bubbled, and
Yeah.
that's not even that bad because you're gonna get this mega right here, theoretically, right? But
Hmm.
you would get a similar amount of value even if you didn't slam this, and you were just like because you notice how you kind of had an awkward grapple to come in here, right?
Yeah.
To begin with, because you were
My
purpose
grapple's stuck.
you were trying to go for a slam in this, like right in their face, right? Where if you grapple a little earlier and you try to go for like a, you can grapple like right here, right? Because there's a forced fixed distance that the grapple is going to max extend at its range, right? So if you want to turn quickly around a corner, you can like grapple far on the wall, and then you just get a feel for whatever the distance is, and then you can sort of just go for a roll through, right? That'd be a little smoother in terms of micro. You could try something stuff like that, and then maybe you can decide to slam if it looks like they're not looking at you. You took a lot of damage because of the beginning of your roll through here. That's why I recommend this tech, because it would help you sort of swing through without standing in front of the Reaper, right? But my point is that you don't necessarily have to go for the slam. You don't necessarily have to force your own shield cooldown even. Um, if you're just pulling their attention away, right? They're like, oh, we have to deal with this ball because our tracer's right, or our Kiriko's right here. Then you could walk back, get this mega, right, force their attention, and then if they decide like, oh, he's not actually engaging, then you can go back, right, keep standing like this one corner around where the rest of her team can help her, and you're shooting her, right? Sometimes you can just force with your guns, right? Using your
Yeah.
speed to take an angle where you can shoot with your guns, right? Because you're actually pseudo isolating her, right? We talked about isolation, right? You're taking the 1v1 technically with maybe a bubble and some speed, but you're not taking more damage. um, that's one thing you can do. So all these like micro adjustments really change how much you're trading here. And so all that time, like we're thinking about how to maximize the resources that you have here. Where when the moment that they perhaps want to go help their tracer that is on top of your backline, because you're forcing more attention, then the moment that they decide that they can't look at you anymore, that's when you go for your slam. That's when you go for like your full committee of your cooldowns, because the moment that they no longer like have the time, energy, and space to deal with you, that's when you're forcing it the most. But that only happens after like playing these like pseudo small engagements to like force out attention and damage, and taking literally focusing on taking as little damage as possible. So that kind of goes into that other VOD review we had with, what was it, pathing. But
Mhm.
sometimes pathing is just knowing the tech, right? Like how to do like a tight swing around this doorway. And if you really know that you're going to be playing like Wrecking Ball on a map like this, then honestly it might even be worth like, what are some common, like, let me learn 3 or 4 different like swing locations that I can have pre-set up, right? Like, how do I swing at this bridge when they're walking across guaranteed? Like, let me find the spot where I can grapple this pillar, and every single time I'm going to swing past this bridge. Every time, right? Or maybe you do something weird where you come from like this doorway and then you swing across, right? Just find those creative options. Or you could even like, in this scenario, you have another option as well, which is you can grapple to the ceiling if they don't see you, and the moment the Curie walks, then maybe you could go for a slam, right? Because then they don't even know you're there in the first place. And then you're kind of forcing the slam without having to, you probably won't get your shields forced, so you just kind of get a free slam, which is like, then you could force Suzu and Bubble and basically take no damage, because after your grapple, because you didn't fireball with your grapple, you just used it to like recline upwards. You actually get your grapple back immediately, and you can use that to like take no damage. So many
Yeah.
small things with ball can definitely make this engagement better. But the general concept of like choosing whether or not you're baiting attention or going for the engagement. Ball does a lot of baiting. So it just keep that in mind. And sometimes like, okay, yes, that's the scenario when you want to bait attention. But yeah, like if you're over here, right, and you see this tracer right here, and your team is looking at like holding their team hostage right here, like if your ball tracer chases their tracer, you should be able to kill her on the flank every single time. You shouldn't, honestly, like you would probably beat this team into submission by like hard forcing the duel into tracer, so long as the rest of your team lived, like played to live and realized that's the play we're making, and then once the tracer's dead, we can like walk up. Because this tracer is going to get absolutely zero resources, and if they try, they die, because like your tracer can basically perfectly match their tracer's movement, and then on top of that, as ball, you can cut her off and chase her, right? So
Yeah.
this tracer right here with ball tracer on your team is honestly like similar in feeling to them sending like like a sojourn over here, right? Because you can match that mobility plus some. You're gonna force out that mobility and then chase. Um, yeah, so just some things to keep in mind. And then once you're forcing their tracer to play stacked, then your team can take the angles and you can go for those soft, slow disruption engages until you force the isolation with the ball disruption, right? Force the isolation, then you go for engagement.
Man, playing ball is hard.
Yep. But that's why some of the best ball players in the world feel like they control the entire lobby. Is because what's theoretically possible is absurd. It's absurd. It takes a lot of pre-structured knowledge about how the character works and how to set up and perfectly like reading the scenario in front of you and being like, okay, because of this setup and the way they're walking and the timing of everything, I can go for a boop to like as their tank walks up, I'm gonna boop their supports back, and then I'm gonna swing back and then boop their tank in, completely isolating both, splitting the team in half, right? Like there's some crazy things you can do. And if you really want to start learning uh, the language of how to sort of think about those ball engagements, honestly, look at top level. Oh, I'm being invited to a group. My gosh, please enter a valid name. Thank you guys. Okay. So this is good. You sort of go for the split on the Lucio, right? Sort of forcing some of that HP. But then you're actually like kind of doing the opposite here, where like you go for a bait. Oh, Arbor wants to join in. All right. Okay.
Bro, I played with Arbo once with the Marvel Rivals thing.
Oh
It was
yeah.
cool.
No, he's great. He used to be one of my coaches back in the day when I was a player. But now we're just good friends. All right. So hopefully he can see the server. So I invited him to this server. Um, does he need
He's
This is
gonna
a
need a
private
role.
channel. We could switch to Overwatch, but
We-
I could give him the coach role to bring him in here.
Oh, I got the
My-
whole
But,
team
like,
in here. Hey team.
hello.
You got everyone
Hi.
minus one.
Can
I'm
you
also
roast my
recording
Tracer
this.
gameplay?
Probably. Probably. I'm
I
recording
don't
as
think
well.
I played this map very well.
Yeah, I got you. There's probably, I mean, as Tracer, everything I'm talking to Wyatt about the ball disruption is sort of hand in hand with Tracer.
Mhm. I think Wyatt and I have gotten a lot better in our communication. I think it's just like ball tracer is like a lot.
Yeah, indeed, it is a lot. Yeah, some fundamentals that I want you to like start applying right now is if you're playing ball tracer into any comp that has a flanker, if they flank whatsoever, you should be able to control that flank. Um,
Mhm.
So the farther away that they are from their team, like the easier it is for you guys to disrupt and sort of punish them. I want you guys to keep that in mind specifically whenever we're looking at this. So like even the enemy tracer, right? You tracer versus tracer, like how do you normally think about that duel?
It's like a 1v1.
Yes, it is a
Basically,
1v1,
you're just
but what
controlling
about it?
controlling a lane.
Yes, yeah, controlling lane is a big part about it. Um, and so Tracer's a very hypermobile character that can run people down, but can she do that versus another Tracer?
Not really, because they like match each other.
Right, exactly.
But like with a ball, you can outmaneuver them.
Big ball in the way.
Exactly. So if you're a Tracer, like taking a duel with their Tracer, and you use one blink, two blink to get like 50, 60 damage off, normally that would put you at a disadvantage in the Tracer duel because she'd be able to blink away and potentially run away from you because you committed two blinks, right? And go for like a health pack. But because you're actually using your blinks for tempo, you're going to get that damage off, and then your ball, whenever she commits those blinks to run away, your ball can chase that, right? Now you don't necessarily want your ball and your tracer to sort of like you still have to be careful about how you use your mobility, right? Because if you swing into the tracer and then you triple blink in and then she like blinks past you and clips your team, then technically even though you had the advantage, you still wasted it, right?
Mhm.
So thinking about how you can sort of take turns trading aggro is a really big part about ball tracer in any scenario. But this is another example where that matters.
You need to
Yes.
go to ball school.
Yeah. Dude, he's probably
Went
one of
to
the most
school.
difficult tanks to like just master. Honestly, like it's crazy how much you can do with him. I don't mind that slam, it's pretty good. Oh, it's a bit late.
Yeah, I noticed
that
that every
boss
time I
late.
do anything on ball, it's already too late.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so there's tempo and then there's what's the word? There's tempo and then there's like finishing out a fight, right? And so when you think about when I say tempo, do you know what I mean by that? Like, you know what that word means? It's actually a chess term.
Do you said tempo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does it mean?
Like controlling the pace of a match or whatever, or a fight.
Yes. So, does anyone else have any thoughts about tempo in the crowd since I've got the team here?
Yeah, tempo tank. That's what Ramatra is.
Mhm.
I
That's what
don't
they call
really
them.
know the concept that well, but I know that
It's like
beat is a really good tempo ult
you make your
because you
opponent
can
play
stop.
at your speed. And
I was
not
a musician, so tempo makes all the sense
Yeah.
to me.
not quite my tempo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why my
Not
tempo?
quite my tempo.
That's awesome. No, that's awesome.
It's
Being a
the speed you
musician,
set your
actually.
metronome at to play with.
So I would say tempo is about producing threats that force responses from the enemy immediately. Like, and so whoever has tempo is the one producing threats first, right? So that's what taking tempo means. Is you're sort of you have sort of neutral state, and then the neutral state is crossed, and now we're getting into like reaction time, right? Do you guys know what I mean when I say neutral?
Yeah.
Like before
Before
any
anything's
team
committed.
gets like a pick, like anyone gets a pick or like any
Dude,
ults have been used or anything
I'm
or
talking about neutral, and
resources.
Arba's not even in here. Okay, where is he? How do I get him in here? Can we join? He
Hold
said
on. I will.
he said
I'll try to make
a
it
request
happen.
to join.
Yeah.
Application submitted. Can we? Do you guys want to go to a
Another
different
billion.
server?
I think
we
Emily
can
can get him in. I think though.
Wait, can't you drag him
Yeah,
instead of
Emily.
giving him like a
Yeah.
roll?
Hold on. Staff just has to approve and I can I'll do it. Is it AIBA or am I tripping?
Arba.
Oh,
Arba.
Arba. Okay.
Another billion
Sorry.
Overwatch coaches to SHSU.
Yes.
Yippee!
There's so many.
We need more. Grant doesn't do his job.
Oh, whoa.
Bro is getting paid.
Coaching is hard, bro.
How dare he not do his volunteer
Like,
job?
I will
or
say,
whatever.
I've like coaching the Marvel Rivals team a little bit. Like I've done like I don't know, only done 2 ROD reviews and like watched one of their scrims. It is fun.
It's
'Cause
great
you get to be
fun.
mean to people. No, I'm
Actually,
playing.
so true. I call everyone terrible at the game, but I also call myself terrible. So like, no one can.
Exactly.
Emily has
Yeah.
some ungrateful students.
Oh my god. Don't even start me on that street, though. I cannot.
There's some demonic egos on white.
Oh, by the
The
way, I am
demonic.
recording
What
this. By the way,
Oh,
just thought I'd say that.
Yeah, Shudder.
Cut it
Do
out.
I have
You can't say anything.
You can cut that out.
you can cut that out.
Bro thinks I know
You
how
can
to
cut that
edit
out.
video.
I know. I'll cut it out.
I know. I'll cut it out.
Yeah, use scissors, duh. Cut your SD card.
So you put it in the software and then you make a cut before it and then a cut after it and then you select the track and then you press delete.
Big. Thank you.
Arba is dead.
You guys
You're
want
welcome.
invite to like
Staff.
personal server? Wyatt's in that one already.
I think I'm in that one. The garden one?
Yeah,
We could
The
we could
garden.
do
Yeah,
that
I'm
if
in
it
that one.
takes a while.
Right then.
I'll do that. Invite
Yeah.
people
I ping.
here.
Yeah.
Whoever. I'm just gonna send it to you guys.
Why is
Like, I just
Emily's
don't care
insisting
about
on
you
it?
being on dispatch, bro. Answer my question. Oh my god. This guy.
Your dispatch is goated. I wish I could afford it. That game looks
How do you know
cool.
it's goated then?
Because it's a
Greetings.
Nice. Okay. And then
what the fuck?
hey,
I forgot you were
there
in
he
here,
is.
Brandon.
Uh-huh.
I actually forgot.
I'm talking about tempo and neutral, and other things.
Oh.
Okay,
What?
neutral. What were we saying about neutral again? Had to wait for Arbor to
It's
get on.
before you've like committed any resources or like anyone's gotten a pick or anything.
Yeah,
Neither team has the advantage.
there's probably
Yeah.
thousands of words you could say about neutral, to be honest. So
All cooldowns up.
yeah, so I would say what you guys are saying are very characteristic of neutrals for sure. So not committing, right, is sort of the definition of being a neutral. When Ball takes tempo, he takes tempo in the neutral through that disruption play, right? Through going through difficult to stop maneuvers that disrupt the enemy team through boops, slams, and all sorts of disruption. Because we talked about how his game plan and his win condition is isolation, right? Isolating targets and taking those duels with your mobility, right? So forcing those scenarios with the boops is sort of his game plan in the neutral. What are some other neutral game plans that teams, like different playstyles, tend to have, other than like wrecking balls?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
So what other type of plans in the neutral can you have other than disruption and isolation?
Baiting, like you can bait an engage from the enemy team or bait just a cooldown out.
Yeah, for sure. I would say oftentimes it's characters that want the close range engagement, right? They have strong cooldowns, strong ability to sort of take the fight in your face. Those are going to be the characters that want to bait a little more often, because if they use their cooldowns to walk onto you, they're not going to have anything to actually finish it, because their cooldowns are supposed to be high burst, right? So like think like
So would this be like Doom?
Doom
Doom, Genji, Tracer.
Doom. Okay.
can play that way, but Doom is also similar to Ball in the sense that he creates disruption to find isolated targets. So I would say a lot of characters do
Like-
play all forms of neutral to some degree, but I want you to think about like the archetypes for now.
Just like brawl tanks,
Yeah. So
brawl and
characters,
rush.
right? Because if you think about a Reinhardt, if the enemy team walked into a Reinhardt, who wins that? It's actually the Ryan,
Run.
right? He actually, but the problem is that he can't exactly choose the engagements, right? That's what Ball does. Ball chooses his engagements. He's like, oh, I have the mobility. That's what Tracer does, right? Like, that is the benefit of having mobility in this game, is choosing your engagements. So when you're playing Reinhardt, you play to bait, and so there's different ways to actually go for that bait. Some ways that you can bait out pressure is by having the third type of neutral pressure, which is
Spoken.
poke. Yeah, it's literally just as simple as poke, like using cheap resources to trade favorably. That is poke, right? And so technically, a lot of so if you're playing like Tracer versus Tracer, you actually end up poking each other because you're using the cheap resource of like one blink to go for like 20 damage. And then if that's enough, then you can go for an engagement, right? So all characters in this game play that trifecta of playstyles, like basically that is like what neutral is defined by switching between those different three types of engagements in like neutral play. So when you're playing Ball, you can go for that disruption, you go for the map control, you go for you look at those isolated target. Like your neutral play as Ball is like, if there is an isolated target, you can just like collapse on them, right? Because you get to choose your engagement. So picking between, like, can I go for a brawl engagement on them right now? Should I be baiting their engagement onto my team? or can I play to set up an angle to sort of trade favorably before going in for any sort of pressure? So like if you have your Sojourn up on an angle and they're just letting her sit there forever and they don't have any poke of their own, you literally don't have to do anything if they're not going to pressure your Sojourn. You could literally win that like slowly by like playing outside of their range and just shooting them, right? Or if they're actively walking onto your Sojourn, right, then you can sort of play to bait that engagement. You can sort of disrupt that engagement. Make sure that the cooldowns that they're spending to commit onto your team are not as effective as they would like them to be. So with that sort of description, one option we have here, right? I already talked to Wyatt about potentially going for taking that early tempo, right? Forcing problems on these guys early by going for boops, right? Because if you can, like, one example that I said was like really strong is when they're walking this bridge, you can find a setup to like boop them off of it potentially, and that slows down their engagement significantly. It's pretty bad, and that allows us more time to actually that disruption actually allows us more time to play in the poke phase, the poke neutral, right? Because they're really brawly, which means they want to get on top of us, which means the longer the fight goes out, the more advantage we have. So forcing them back into this is like tower defense style, like they're running down at your tower, right? Wait, Blue's tower defense. Wait, I tied it in.
Oh
I
my.
tied it in.
Bloons mentioned.
Oh
so
my
funny, dude.
god, bro.
Nice.
This is so
So-
big for me and Wyatt.
Wait, so if you use
Uh.
the whirlwind magic monkey, you push them back so that you're.
Alright.
Yep.
Go back to Overwatch, bro.
This is better, let's be honest.
But notice this, like the idea of
Bubble
disruption,
out
right?
on Kiri.
So you go for the slam, and it's like not even the worst thing, right? But they go for this bubble, right? You're going for your engagement, but look what happens here is our Sojourn has committed a cooldown against the Brawl team, which means they have successfully baited this space, and because they now have the slight mobility advantage, now their Reaper is actually running down our isolated Sojourn. Look at this. That's actually what happened, describing the techniques that I just said, right?
It's like when you're playing Genji and you dash in, you don't confirm a kill, so you just die because you don't have a cooldown to escape.
Right. And so if our Sojourn just played this low ground, like you have two options. You either play this low ground as they're walking up to you, or you're already on the high ground, and by the time they get to you, you have your slide back. Those are your only two options. Because the moment that they can close that distance is the moment you've overstepped. And if you want to, now this is where you get to like the Galaxy 3000 brain, right? Where you play your Sojourn more aggressively on the low ground, you teleport top, and then you realize, okay, who can punish that? Kind of Kiri, kind of Lucio, mostly Reaper, right? Then you as Ball, if you're like, all right, well, when the Reaper teleports onto my Soj, I'm gonna like already be here and I'm gonna pre-slam him. That's like an idea. And specifically in this scenario, I don't think it works as well because they have Zarya, so she can bubble the Reaper on the engage, which makes their engagement even better. But that's just that's an example, and that's going to apply in other scenarios. It's something to think about, right? Like when you're in terms of buying time for your poke characters to just win, if all the pressure is going on top of them, then they lose the close range engagement every time. So just some options, right? Any questions so far about this sort of concept?
Nah.
Actually, yeah. So I meant to ask Grant this, but this works too. I'm very new to Lucio, and I don't know how to play with this comp because we're usually like a 2-3 split, and like Kiri's off with like Shutter, and then like we have like a Zarya or something, and then I'm like, okay, I'll just like I know who to go to. But now that we're on Ball Tracer, I don't really know what my role is.
Okay, no,
here.
that's actually a fantastic question because this is you have to realize that your role is always going to change depending on the scenario, and that's why it's so hard to figure out.
I would assume you'd play with your Sojourn here just to keep her mobility high
Yeah.
for playing into a brawl comp, so that even if she does use her cooldowns, she's not immediately ran down. She'll have some kind of sustain.
That's one part of it. That is one option you have. Another
Yeah.
option you have is you can play with your Tracer Ball as a 3-stack diving crew, and then you
That's
That's
and
my
then you
thing.
let
I
your-
was thinking both of those. I'm like, which do I pick? And
Yeah.
I don't know.
And so like your Sojourn is typically going to be playing with your Kiriko because they have a similar like walking speed, right? And so I would say that
Mhm.
like if Sojourn Kiriko like took a wide angle, right? So like just right here, and then like Kiri's like right here, right? And let's say they're playing on point, right? Then so long as the Sojourn and the Kiri can sort of support each other, they can play their own like mini angle, right? But
Mm.
let me step back. So when we talked about the different types of playstyles, I was describing to you guys 3 playstyles of like poke diving and brawling, right? In the neutral, and so typically people think about comps as this is a poke comp, this is a dive comp, this is a brawl comp, right? You guys have heard that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think
Yeah.
it's a bit of a misnomer because, as I said before, all comps engage in all 3 types of neutral plays. It just depends on the situation. So, you guys, how typically you describe your comp as a dive comp, right? Because you've got the ball and the tracer and the sojourn, right? Very high mobility.
Mhm.
What would you describe their comp?
Brawl.
It's
Little
brawly,
brawl.
right? You got the slower Zarya. You got the Reaper who he can teleport right onto people, so he's got some mobility. Well, they have Tracer and Lucio. It's like they have these characters that also have mobility, so they have the potential to dive isolated targets on your team if you walk too far away. So like if you have your Kiri Sojourn over here, then if they like literally what happened is the Reaper teleports on top of the Sojourn and the Sojourn got dove, right? Even though we're on the dive comp.
Yeah.
So you have to think about what is going to be the most advantageous lever for you to pull in that moment versus the comp that you're playing against and the map positioning that is being held. Right? That's how you're going to determine what your playstyle is. So
Mhm.
given that their comp is a lot more brawly, they play more to bait, right? That's what we described. Because they bait, what should we not be doing?
Committing any
Hard engage.
cooldown.
Yeah, we shouldn't be blowing any cooldowns for no reason. Because that's what happened to us. We blew slide, and they found the opportunity. We slammed on our first engagement on the Kiri, and then we like missed the slam, and they bubbled the Kiri. She teleported away, and now our ball is like kind of isolated from this engagement as they're slowly walking and closing the space on our team, right? So because we're committing those cooldowns, like we're losing out on, we're sort of bringing the fight to them. They're brawling us out, and we're losing value. So what is brawl typically weak to?
Poke.
Poke.
Poking.
And so that could,
Just
yeah, what were you
I
saying?
was just gonna say, poking with the inexpensive resources.
Yes. So
Like
the most.
Sojourn Railgun.
Oh yeah.
we-
Oh yeah.
Could we poke through like soft engages with like the ball and the tracer?
I love how you think.
Yeah.
I love how you think. I love how you think. Yes. Yes, exactly. But you
I
have
love
to
how you
not
think.
commit.
Isn't that the whole job of the Sojourn here is just to get in the LOS of where the ball, Tracer, and potentially Lucio are playing, and then try to finish off a pick without committing cooldowns? That's how this comp operates now.
Honestly, I would say it's kind of the other way
What-
around in the sense that
What
like
role does Sojourn play?
Sojourn is going to be like I hit the body shot or like a full charge rail onto the support, and then ball
And then they
tracer
finish in
like
the back line?
ball tracer's like I have 2 blinks left. I'm going to go commit for the kill. Now I commit for the kill because poke whittles down those important resources, and then
Yeah.
that's when you go for the commitment, right?
So in a fight, is it gonna look like my dive tank and dive DPS engaging and me following up, or is it just more
I mean,
oriented?
it can
Sojourn
happen.
tries to get the damage,
It
or
can
is it just
happen
either way?
thousands of ways, right? Like
Yeah.
it sort of just depends like who finds the value first. Technically, your tracer can win the poke war, and then your sojourn can slide to finish the kill. I mean, it can happen, right? You have to sort of open your mind and not think so rigidly.
Yeah.
And realize that like yeah, that is a very common way it's going to happen. And that is what you should generally be aiming for as well. But you know, if you're going to use that slide to confirm the kill, like you're going to do it, right? And so long as you get that kill, you sort of get the man advantage, but in most situations, at least. So like here in
If
this
you don't get
scenario, notice how our Sojourn actually has the angle, right? And actually gets the Zarya to about half HP for free. Like this is this costs nothing to us, other than like, because even our ball is like not even doing that much, right?
Real.
And if anything, it's like him not doing anything is in some ways better in that specific moment than him like fully committing his shields, right?
Should I have slammed on like Lucio, their core, or is it the slam on Kiri like fine
I
or
think the
less
slam.
value?
I think the slam on carry is kind of fine here. It's a little unfortunate that our sojourn. So like I said, I think the problem is that you acted too late to begin with. I think if you were gonna go for a slam, notice how because it's a sort of a micro thing. If they're playing Reaper Tracer, which means they have no long range damage, which means if you're like soaring high in the air, you actually get kind of free engagements with slams. So you can kind of do it really early for low risk. So I would be going for like this play like much sooner if I was you on ball.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
because you're not committed. As the nice thing about ball is that a slam is not a commitment, right? Because if you if they're absolutely going to desperately chase you, you've got shields, and by the point that they force your shields, you hope that they've burnt everything, right? Or you can sort of grapple up using like the recline feature, and then you slam, and then you still have your grapple to leave, right? That's not you're not committing. You're actually going for neutral engages, right? At that point, you're sort of you're doing like a
Yeah.
mini poke. Um,
And we're still in first point.
I know, but I mean, more people join. Dude, I'm so infamous for this. I can't even stop. It's literally, I'm addicted to watching one fight over and over. But it's literally a problem. Uh, so yeah, to sort of capstone it all off, though. Yeah, so like going for those poke plays, choosing whether or not you need to go for that engagement, and identifying that scenario. So okay, the original question, as Lucio, what should we be doing with everything that we discussed in terms of our game plan, right?
Yeah.
We sort of realized that what is important here in our comp.
I mean, keeping Soj mobile is
Keeping
like
Soj
in like
alive.
in a good position to follow up, right?
Keeping Soj alive, making sure they can't go for their engagement on top of our source of damage. And the weakest link is going to be our Sojourn. So I would say that if they're playing super stacked like that, playing with your Sojourn is going to help tremendously. Because what help are you really going to give on the front line versus with your Ball Tracer? When they're at the enemy team is actively trying to avoid having to look at them at all because they know that they can't chase any kills. So that whenever they take fights with those characters, they lose out, right? Because their resources are inherently more valuable when they're taking active engagements. So they're already fine. So playing with your you don't necessarily have to play stacked on your Sojourn, right? You can take like if your Sojourn's playing like this angle, you can play like this wall, right? And then like you can sort of decide for yourself like, oh, I'm gonna peek this, and then if they look at me, like you're sort of pseudo drawing attention of your own without getting your own resources forced, right? So you're sometimes you can draw attention away from where they would rather it be by sort of you don't have to like play directly on top of your tracer ball, but you can help them by the moment that the tracer ball is drawing aggro, you walk in more aggressive from your angle, and you're like, all right, I'm standing main, I'm gonna boop you. Like now that you're looking at the ball this way and you're standing right here, I'm gonna walk up and boop you off the bridge. So it's like it's always the second threat, right? Like if you're trading aggro like that, then they'll never get on your Sojourn in the first place. But if they are on your Sojourn, then if you're like, oh, now I'm Lucio, I have high speed, now I have the option to go peel. The benefit is that you can kind of do both, when you play correctly with better setups. Yeah, so that's generally how I'd say talk about that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's look at another fight. What point you guys want to look? Oh, you switched to ball here. Let's just let's see what you got in the back here with like an old fight. So ults change the neutral, right?
Yeah.
How is the neutral? So what? Let's start with the basic neutral of our comp versus theirs. What's going on? What do we have here?
We can't let them get in our face. So like they are still brawl, the same comp.
Right, so they're
And
still pretty brawly. They haven't changed anything. And you guys changed the Sojourn to a Freya and the ball to a Winston. So the archetype is basically still the exact same in terms of what we're playing, right? Because we've got our Winston who forces the attention. and our Freya, who are really banking on getting a lot of long-range value so that we can actually play any fight up close.
Really should have just went Diva, but I just wanted to play Winston.
I don't think you have to play Diva here. I think
Yeah, I
Winston's
think all of
okay.
those character choices were good.
I think Winston's fine, honestly. Yeah, I would
Yeah, I
say
think-
it's kind of difficult to play it this way, but you definitely can.
I think my Diva is just it's a lot. I want to say I'm a better Winston, but I think I can do a lot more on Diva. If that makes sense.
Yeah, she's pretty good right now. I don't know. To me, like, it's not a very high ground centric map for most of the points. So I would say that, like, for Diva, you would kind of be really worried about, like, your brawl. You really can't hold any space versus Zarya is the problem. Whereas as Winston, you have the option to sort of like play a sort of passive bubble and sort of
Mhm.
draw attention that way. Is not now as Diva does have a little more maneuverability, but I don't know. I wouldn't prefer it personally here, but you definitely can. Honestly, I think Ball is definitely still the if you're gonna pick like a dive tank, I think he's still best here, given the DPS matchup.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. But so we talked about it. So we want to play slow. We want to set up angles, and we want our spray to be set up so that we can force them out slowly. And once we force out key cooldowns, then we can brawl them, right? Because we'll have an advantage. So ultimates will change that neutral fight plan, or at least the flow of that fight plan, right? So given the ultimates that are online, how is it changed? So for team one, what ults do they have, and how does that change things?
Well, they have beat rush, so it's gonna be hard to engage in a fight cleanly.
They literally have four like close range engagement ults. Yeah, literally all four of them. So if in literally every universe, if they're on top of the space that they want,
Yeah.
then they're going to get that fight,
Contribution.
right? So what do we have in response?
We have
Rush,
Rush, and then we
almost
almost
beat.
have beat.
And Bola.
Rush almost
Bola.
have beat Ebola, and I would say that by the time both support ults end, we'll probably have Primal, if done correctly.
If done correctly.
If done correctly.
G
So
Winston, by the way.
I actually noticed that you guys have point control here, so let's actually look at this because this fight is already devolving here. I do got it. Okay, so we bubble early here. Okay.
What Grant has tried to get us to do less is that we end up flipping point a lot, so we're trying to play around point more because we keep
Actually,
we have an
interesting.
issue with like anchoring.
Like we're trying to make plays, but we don't need to make plays, right?
Okay,
Just
so
because we already have point.
So I actually I think there's a middle ground between the two. I actually like you guys playing up, but I do think it's very bad if you let them flip at the same time. So let's see how they managed to get past, right? So first of all, Wyatt, how are you half HP?
I don't know, let's find out.
Okay, you beat Zarya, right click, and you... Okay. The moment that the moment that the poke comes out on the corner, I would recommend not peeking. If you really want to, you can like change the angles that you're peeking constantly, but you really don't want to like do that. You don't want to like
Yeah.
as Winston like
I
yeah, you get it. It's literally the only one
I got it.
poking you is like the Curie at this point.
It's okay, I think
Just
I
be
do
broken
something
character,
worse this
nerf,
fight.
remove.
Just be careful, because now that you don't have armors. Okay, so you bubbled early.
You baited it.
They baited, yeah, they baited the engage. They baited your cooldown. What's a better way to bait this corner on your end?
I mean, I could drop or just go around to the left while they're walking through there, and I can just jump back if I need to.
Yeah, so right now, you should know generally that the Reaper's right here. You don't know where their Tracer is, but because the Reaper's stacked with the tank, their close range threats are actually stacked, which means this corner is actually not as scary as it could be if the Zarya was walking here and the Reaper was walking here. So because they have that weakness, you can play this corner really greedily for a while, because the moment they actually walk out, you're going to be able to drop down. You want to squeeze this bubble as long as possible, because we talked about how they have all these ults, right? They have they're flipping map, and with all the ults they have, if you take a close range fight that's fully committed, you're going to lose. So you'd rather take a fight that's like not committed, that isn't on point, because when they're ulting, right, they're not going to be able to get that objective time, which is very important for these brawl comps. So playing close, I actually agree with, but you need your angles and you need to not get your own resources forced. So going for that bubble right there is just not very good trade, because we're not getting anything for this. So they're gonna wait out your cooldown and then they're gonna walk. Whereas if they were sort of walking down this rotation, then if you had bubbled, right, to split them, you can sort of use that as like your mini wrecking ball engage, right? Like you're splitting them so that like someone thinks twice about rotating, so that your Freya can get the extra angle to try and get a kill on that rotation, right?
Yeah, I think I also forced recall early here.
Oh, that's really good. Is that actually true? Let's
Or
see.
no, my own recall.
Oh, I see.
I got my recall forced.
You
Yeah, I
go
just
for a pulse.
took I took the engage too hard when we weren't ready.
So they use both bubbles, but they still had Suzu. Yeah, so as Tracer, like Zarya, Kiri, you should just unbind the I'm gonna go in and pulse button in your head. Unless the engagement is like actively, so like the only reason you should go for that is unless they're like actively making a rotation. And you like, let's say if they're making a rotation, our Winston forces something and the Kiri teleports away, and you know this Lucio is like around the corner of the Zarya, then you can go for that. But things need to happen first, for sure. And getting your own recall is like literally like as you say. Now they get to walk free. So because we use bubble and recall. Notice we use bubble and recall before they even walked forward, right? So that's part of like getting this rotation to point for them, is like now we have no means to stop them. So even though you hit a couple of shots, like they still have the ability to completely walk up, because only now are we getting an actual pressure engage cycle with a bubble. So you're walking up.
Chungus jump. Oh my god.
Kitsune happens early. I don't mind the Kitsune. That's a good kill. So you... Fun fact, by the way. Even though they have 4 ultimates, even though they have the Brawl comp, you guys pressed ult first, which means your engagement was technically better for whatever time it was necessary to get a kill. Now they can still come back, but notice how even though they had the technical advantage, like theoretically, because you had executed in a certain way and they didn't respond, you just punished them randomly. Just randomly. And so if you're doing this, but even without your... Like, if you learn how to do this with just your ability cycling, as we sort of saw before, you can win these really, like, difficult-to-win fights with low resources. Tough. Tough to die there. Did you track they had Reaper ult?
I don't remember, honestly.
I think we were probably more
Yeah,
focused
we
on
did, but then I got
super
caught
ults.
around the column, and I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, so even though you're going for this engage, they still have those ultimates, which means they can still respond at any time. Which means you getting close, like that close, is still really dangerous. I would recommend, against their comp, they don't even have hit scan. As Lucio, if you're like in the skybox, you're actually kind of intangible, low-key. Just some things to think about. So you could be like flying this way. You can even low-key even think about playing Poke Lucio sometimes. Oh, hi Grant.
I hate this guy. I'm trying to learn.
Hey, fuck you, bro.
You too.
So like you could even think about playing Poke Lucio sometimes. Like if they've got all these brawl ultimates, right? If you stand close to the Reaper at all, like you're gonna get Reaper ulted, right? So if you're sort of
get reaped.
swinging wide, then he can't just randomly press Q and kill you. And your ability to sort of send Cheerios their way, like notice how when you take this angle, they actually kind of have to like force you out, right?
Yeah.
You can get damage, and you're like a mini Cassidy on that angle against those.
How the fuck did I die, bro? Oh my god.
Wait. Alright, so...
I got no diff. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, but you forced all their attention. How did you?
I think I got like triple dinked by the Kiri or something. Combined with the Zarya shooting me.
Yeah, but you took attention, so we were able to clean it up. It was not that bad.
Oh, and in terms of like holding the corner, we talked about the bubble, right? But another alternative, right? If you like, let's say you do drop here, and there's happens to be a Reaper, don't be afraid to instantly jump out, right? Because your jump cooldown is only 6 seconds, so by the time they walk up, like here, not only are you going to reset up on another angle, right? You're gonna have your jump back, which means you can do the exact same thing on another corner. So you could like reset your next corner to like right here, and then once they finally force you out again, then you can like you have the option to either jump further, right? So you can like jump on their backline who's like lagging to walk in, or you can jump back another corner if you absolutely need to. But you should be doing this with every corner that you can before point is like a must in Seed. That's why playing up can actually work in some ways, because you can jump from corner to corner, stabilize, get your resources back, and then you can like bait the space, right? And then you can sort of take space that's advantageous versus where they're going. So like, let's say you jump back here and then they start walking up bridge and they actually don't see that you walk this way, and then you like jump from behind, that sort of thing. Just some ideas. That's the same for like Tracer, Winston, any character that playing can do stuff like that. So why you jumped in? Almost get that Fury kill. Yeah, honestly, more front to literally the same problem with like overcommitting on the Kiri too early. Technically could have just walked. Literally just stay in that corner, stand your ground. Not too bad though. You guys won the fight, so that was really good. The early Kitsune certainly helped.
Korean Primal coming up.
Oh. Okay, I like the setup. Okay. Yeah, wait, that's actually kind of peak bait. Okay, no, I like this a lot here. No, I like this a lot. Maybe not the bubble. Well, let me think. Let's watch. This is good. No, this is good. This is really good. Oh, perfect. 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 Good job, guys. That was great.
Let's go.
I really liked this because you played.
I think by the
safe,
time,
and
I think his
played
first
very
beat was the Ajax that we forced, but I'm not sure.
good. Which beat?
We Ajaxed them after aggressive beating at one point.
Yeah,
I think
that
it was
is
later. I
last
think it was
point.
later. Yeah. That was last point.
No, this was great though. I genuinely have to say, you walked into a safe position, right? They teleported onto you, and instead of like immediately panicking, you sort of played the corner, you played the doorway, you had your team ready, and you punished them for like walking onto you. Fantastic. Very, very well played.
I never know who we're to set up here on this point as Winston, when I am playing Winston on this point.
I don't mind this. I would say like
I think I went in with the mindset of I'm gonna use Primal. That's why I
Which-
was like inting, but not inting at the same time. I don't know.
I think that's okay, but you should pick your timing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're never gonna kill these guys unless you have like full setup. So when you're going for that primal, like notice how let's think about setup here for a second. Because whenever you're playing tank, if the question is how to play, the answer should always come from paying attention to the setup of the enemy and your own team. We actually are taking a duel actively with the Tracer on the flank right now. Our Tracer is setting up here for this angle, and their Zarya is looking to walk up and force point with our Lucio on point as well. Honestly, we could have probably gotten away on this fight having our Lucio flank with the Tracer, because this fight's a little different because the poke angles are not necessarily as good, and our Freya is very difficult to punish, I feel like, and we've got a Kiriko up here, so like this Tracer's never gonna do anything. So as Lucio, honestly, you could get away with like speeding your Tracer here. This is like one option you have, because then when we're going in for this engage, there's a lot more pressure. And I don't mind this. Let's see. So the Reaper walks in with the onto the Kiriko.
Yeah, I think Reaper just killed our whole
He shouldn't.
backline.
You got caught alone on point.
Oh yeah, I chased the Lucio and kind of like threw. I'm not gonna lie.
Honestly, when the Reaper teleports here, your teammates, Emily, they left. And so recognizing that sometimes you don't actually have to peel anymore if your team's gone, can be very useful.
Yeah, this is another moment where I was like, I don't know who to stand with, so I was just kind of hinting. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
No, check out the me primaling the Lucio all the way back to their spawn.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
I think I gave up my position too.
I wanted to
because,
kill him so bad.
So close.
Because Shutter got aggressive and then I tried to peel, but I could have just held that angle.
Yeah, I agree. Primal to send Lucio back to spawn. Okay, so then what else happened while you were primaling?
Flashpoint unlocks in 10 seconds.
Hey, poke.
Flashpoint unlocked.
Yeah. So then this is when those two left. We actually go in for an ult. Good idea.
Should I-
Unfortunately, they left. Yeah, what would you say?
Should I just primal, like the moment that happened? Should I just turn around and primal the Zarya or the Reaper?
I think at this point I would have turned away from the Lucio because a Lucio that's far away from his team is not even really doing much. So you've kind of already gotten some value with the primal versus this, and so when you're sort of switching targets like that, you have the option to like, yeah, you can jump back, you can force the Zarya back, but at the same time, while you're forcing the Zarya back, you can like primal her into here, and then once you do that, she has to walk up. Then you see the Kiriko who just teleported up here. Then you force her out, right? And then maybe you go for the kill, or maybe you see the Tracer who's trying to go on someone. Then you jump on her and force her off of your teammate. Being able to switch targets is definitely a very useful skill because it's going to help you sort of mitigate everything at once. Here, I think chasing Lucio is a bit ambitious, realistically, because even if you get the kill, it's like you're the tank, right? So you're sort of trading 1-for-1 with your ult, which your team ends up not being able to clear out that Reaper, essentially.
Ready for battle.
Oop, whoop, hello. So as that primal goes on, let's see, the moment that Lucio's in the room, let's see what other options there were. So you go for this engage. Kind of forcing out, just playing your life, that's fine. Okay, you force both the, honestly, if anything too, like, you force both the supports back. Like, the moment I see them in this small room in the door, that's probably the moment I would have turned. Because the Kiriko, she doesn't want to be there because her team is actually taking the engagement. So she's probably going to teleport away anyway. And so if you're already there, ready to punish her on the teleport, you could probably Goomba stomp her. Sort of anticipating her movement like that, right? Okay. I think the Freya ult was a bit early as well, unfortunately. I like the idea, but he kind of did it blind. Tried to... Yeah, wait. Okay. How do we want to take this? Because this is really weird, right? How are we feeling about this?
I think I wanted to take height because I thought someone would be standing there, like Kiriko or maybe Reaper.
I think high ground is not too bad. Does she have jump ups? I can't even tell. Does she have like the jump perk?
Go back
Wait,
to
we
the
got her
POV.
again? I saw a perk.
Oh
thing.
yeah, it's on the bottom.
No,
right.
she's right to church.
So I don't think she can get up here, unless this counts with this right here. I don't think she can get up here. So taking left side probably is good for you guys because you can sort of force out. Just because she's not on there, you can take the positioning, like you can kind of brawl the space out, and then you can sort of set up your Freya. You just have to worry about the Reaper, and I think if you know that the Reaper's in this room, then actually rotating left around is a really good way to avoid his angle and force him to sort of use cooldowns if he wants to stop you guys from taking space. I think left side is probably pretty good. You just have to be careful to not get engaged in this space, right? Because the Reaper is close enough with bubbles and teleport to sort of harass people. You're forcing the Tracer out right now, which is actually good. Nice kill. Nice kill. Okay. So now our option, now that we got the kill.
Yeah, we
set
got a
off
pick,
the-
and I was like, I gave up on taking height.
Yep. Yep, that's completely reasonable. How did Fury die? Teleported in. See. So you got forced out by the Zarya, actually. As this Kiri player, you have to, I think, realistically, you still have to, like, the moment that this engagement happens, like, they're only down 1, so technically they still have a lot of, pressure on the field still. It's still not the easiest to just simply walk up. I think you should still be playing, like, for your positioning here. I think as Kiriko, if you teleport up top here, you don't get forced out like that. And any ults that happen on point, you're going to be completely immune of. And I think even same for Freya if she needs it, but right now she doesn't. So just something to keep in mind, because after you get forced out, they're still in Kitsune, she can turn around and just continue beating you. That's what happens. So, be careful not to trade, guys. Oh god. Okay, no, this is fine though. Okay, good point kill, good focus on that Tracer. It's literally what I said earlier, actually. Remember that, Wyatt, on the first point? I said you guys have more mobility, so you should be able to force the Tracer.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you guys did, and you won the fight. So you guys, intuitively, I think you guys know a lot of these plays that I talk about. It's just about having those split seconds that you have in game to sort of decide, like, what the decision should be. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I
Oh
honestly
my god.
jumped into that to bubble. I wanted to try to bubble it without gunning in, but I kind of just got pulled into it.
Yeah, look.
If you spend your immediate brain power anytime you're in a new situation, new matchup or whatever, on thinking about, okay, how do we lose this fight? Right? Like, they have a brawl. So in order to, if we lose if they just fight on top of us, or if we use our cooldowns before we should,
yeah,
right?
I think that's more. I think that's probably more productive than us.
Then, as
being
long as
shocked
you
we
don't
win.
do the bad thing, right, you'll have a lot of time to think about how you win the fight.
That's
right?
true. Yeah, that's very
Oh,
true.
yeah, that's good.
It's very.
I like that.
Techcraft pulled me from Nom, dude.
Yeah. This is what pulled you guys.
That's so stupid.
Her placement was not good there, and it looks like you guys barely got away. But I promise you, you gave her way too much opportunity to do this, because she could have even put it on this doorway, and you standing right here definitely would have been pushed back as well. I'd be very careful. Like, remember, they've got these brawl ultimates. You guys lost to the brawl ultimates. If the Zarya has grav, don't stand. Her grab ultimate fires at the exact same speed of her as her right click. So imagine one of her right clicks coming at you at any moment, and that's basically how susceptible you are to that grab. This is way too close, and the moment you peek this, I would have been scared. I'd be like, nope, I'm out. Because you just want to keep rotating, because they don't have the speed advantage, right? You want to keep using your slight mobility to, like, say, oh, you're going to take this top high ground. The first thing I would have done is I would have rotated this way, because they have no Tracer angle, they have no Reaper angle, and if they want to push out of this high ground onto point, they have to contend with the fact that you have got the server admin position. And then we keep doing the thing we described earlier, where we're playing corners, but we're making sure we're not getting, like, screwed over. So, like, we let them through this room, and you as Winston, you can, like, play this, like, little lip of cover, you can play, like, this lip of cover, and then if they chase you, you can, like, jump across, right? So then as they're chasing you, your Freya, who has this angle, has perfect shots, and you're buying as much time as possible for your poke to win.
It's the elephant behind the pole cover.
Yep. It works, dude. Whereas we sort of let them walk into us with really strong ultimates that we should have ult-tracked and been like, well, I guess they did just triple ult my face and get the point. Ult tracking. Also, making sure you're making decisions off of those. Very important. It's hard to
I
make
think we
decisions.
ult track, but we don't play according to that ult track.
Yeah, and that's where when I talk about those sort of neutral engages, you can think about how do those ults shift those neutral plays. Well, their engagement is just 10 times stronger, so that they're just gonna keep walking. Like if they can take tempo on you, and they can't, if the brawl team can choose the engagement on you, they typically win. Right. The benefit of mobility is that that's how you get to choose your engagements. But if you're sort of not, if you have your mobility and you're just not using it and you're sort of letting them walk at you, then they chose their engagement and they get to win because they've got Grav, Reaper, that things that make their engagement really strong. Whereas if they throw these things at you and you have like a blink, 2 blinks, right? You're standing right here, they throw a Grav at you this way, and then you hear the Grav, you react, you blink away. It's like, okay, you properly baited that because you weren't too close. Whereas if your Tracer, like in kissing distance to the Zarya, she grabs the floor and you have no time to react. As like an extreme example. So ideally, you want to get as close as possible to not actually being within range, right? So I like what you do there. Even though you take a bunch of damage, you jump away and live, and you give your Freya some opportunity. Like,
I think I got 2 bubbles too, but it doesn't matter that much.
yep, you guys use the Kitsune. You go for your own quick engagement. It worked out pretty well because they didn't respect your ultimates. Classic, right?
I always hate playing this point.
Oh, they're on Winston now.
Something about it.
How does them playing Winston change this situation?
They can Viper verticality more.
That is one
Yeah,
thing.
and whenever I'm in a Winston like matchup, Winston on Winston, it's kind of like a competition to which Winston can deny the other. I feel like at least that's how it plays out
That's part
in
of
my
it.
games, in my experience.
That's certainly part of it. So you whenever it's dive mirrors, especially, the game opens up so much. It's actually kind of intimidating how much it opens up. But one option you have is like, yeah, if the Winston jumps into a disadvantageous position, sometimes you can just jump him and force him out. That is one option. If sometimes he jumps somewhere that's not useful, which gives you the opportunity to jump on his backline, right? There's so many different things that could happen.
Yeah.
Just have to watch and see. So he actually jumps up on top of you. You commit the bubble for this, and you end up, for that bubble, you end up getting a bait onto the Wraith form, and the Winston drops the high ground. And your Kiriko gets teleport forced. We end up getting an angle. Okay, yeah, I think you managed to play this pretty well. Yeah, I like that. Because you actually kind of did the reverse, if you noticed, like, you sort of played up top on high ground, and then they committed cooldowns onto you, so you actually were the one baiting them. And because they no longer have Zarya, because they no longer, like, they have the Reaper to brawl, but your quote-unquote engagement on this high ground was better, so the Winston dropped down and you got the Reaper 1 HP in Wraith form, which means you could continue being aggressive, and you took no damage, and you had the Primal, so yeah, this is really good. You snowballed that small advantage really well. And your Freya got value and all that.
All I'm hearing is Winston gap.
Oh, watch this beat though.
Yeah!
Wyatt called this.
Wyatt calmed this, and I was like, alright, run it.
Okay.
Yeah, I said let's just
I want
beat and
Winston,
run at
though.
them.
Oh!
And we Ajax their Lucio.
Oh!
Okay, actually, I like that. I like that specifically because it's the weird flashpoint thing where, like, your guard is down because you're walking a point, and you're like, all right, guess we're rotating in, and are we gonna walk?
You don't
through this
expect
tra-
5 people
Yo, I
with
thought
800
of that
HP.
like a couple days before. That's crazy.
Let's go. No, that's cool.
What do you mean you don't expect the 800 HP Tracer with beat running at you with their whole team?
Yep. No, that's pretty good. Did we have an
I
angle for
didn't-
that too, or we just full brute force it? Let's look at. I want to look at this exact like setup. See just what made it work.
I wasn't.
It was right about like where we got I was like walking through that main door,
saw
that
rotated.
that
Yeah,
main.
Right here.
it wasn't
Oh.
like a ton of planning, but we realized.
I saw them walking,
Play.
and they were like, "We cut off full LOS, but we know we know where they're coming, obviously." I think I barely got. Oh, no.
So the timing that really worked here is the fact that you jumped right as the moment their backline walked up here. This can be a very tricky thing. If their backline is like even right here, this can be so much harder.
Let's see.
This is so much harder because they have ults to match. Technically, they just don't. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely a bit of a misplay on his part. Like, excuse me. Oh my goodness. You're sort of profiting off of their bad reaction, but hey, you know what? If you're taking tempo and it's working against your opponents, take a free win.
I mean,
I
it
think
was
it
a
only ended up
forced
getting
bad
us
reaction.
16%.
Exactly. Forced bad reaction.
Yeah.
Force them to respond
They were
correctly.
surprised. They were surprised and did not react correctly. Yeah.
So
Unlucky.
much different on this fight because they've got the ult advantage with the Kitsune. Kitsune's such a busted ult, honestly.
Real.
I think we just played too close again.
Yeah, we just didn't have enough room to kite it.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. So a couple things here.
I think we got too excited about the Ajax and really fight.
You're like, this will be easy now, huh? They won't. Surely they won't fight back.
You don't have any other ults.
Yeah.
Yeah. So same thing as before. I think a bit too close. To the aggressive ultimates coming up, and their speed and their, especially because they're on Winston now, they can close that distance. So what is too close is actually technically even closer. And then another thing in terms of
range.
micro, you didn't really use your wall rides to get extra speed out. And when if they do have an advantage like that in terms of like Kitsune coming into point, I would much rather you play like farther back, just in general. Like do the wide swing poke Lucio thing again. So that you can sort of give yourself more options to leave, and that goes for anyone if you ever get caught out like this. But in specific situation, like you can play back to point like this, and then if they're Kitsuneing and the end of Kitsune is right here, then you have the option to like wall climb this way, and that's about escape routes and all that, which is a whole concept, but just something to think about. So. And then we kite that direction. Okay, next fight. Oh, nice trade, actually. I actually really like this fight. The only difference I would make is I would have jumped more aggressively this way.
Yeah.
That's the only difference.
Use this.
Because I think this advantage you got is actually much bigger than you thought. Them
I
committing
did it
jump,
to get just a poke for ult charge. That's what was in my mind. But yeah.
Yeah, but then they happen to like fall for that bait, right? Like
They TP'd and jumped.
They TP and jump when after you get your jump cooldown back means you can basically like yeah, you use bubble, but if you jump this way and you help your tracer take the duel, you actually probably at least you force recall. She probably dies, to be honest, because they're on a.
I think I killed her anyway.
They're on like a 5-7 second cooldown now. It's really good. That's really good. You could even like, if you really wanted, you could even like jump point and force the Kiri immediately. like that's messed up here, because if the Kiri teleports, then your team like gets a full free rotation on the like this side of point. Nice. Oh, what are we doing?
Don't look.
Oh, you blinked in for what purpose? For what purpose?
With no
purpose.
With no recall. GG.
Just literally. Sometimes as tracer, I literally be shooting like 20 damage at people by clips. Like I would just shoot Lucio from this range. And if anything, like as they're running away from your team here, realizing that sometimes like they will just ignore the threat in their face and look at you, which is actually exactly what seems to be happening right now. And so if that's the case, like even though you came on the angle late, even though you have the perfect timing to go for like some value here, your value is actually not by doing anything. Your value is by them wanting to shoot you and then they can't, and then you're just like jiggle peeking the corner, and they're like, "Oh, I want to," and then they turn around and then you can go in, right?
Yeah, I think the issue that I have is that I play too much pokey tracer and I overcompensate trying not to as much now.
I Yeah, but it's about the situation, right? So in this
Yeah.
situation, they've got Reaper, Lucio, Kiriko, like all in right here, which means that the closer you are, the sort of worse off you are.
Yeah.
Where if you're playing farther back, you can sort of dodge the Lucio Cheerios. You can, the Reaper is not doing that much damage to you, and you can sort of like play LOS, right? If you absolutely have to, like if you want to shoot the Lucio, you can play like this, and then the Reaper wants to shoot you, but he can't. It's just sort of you need to sort of pay attention to whether or not your opponents are looking at you and when, so that you can manipulate that attention. Because if they're looking at you and not your team, then so long as you're not getting forced out, then your team, then Wyatt's gonna be able to walk in and cleave 3 people for free. So if not you, someone else. And you go for that pulse. Suzu was never forced, and you die
Yeah.
for it. And now because you're not in this fight, you don't finish this. You don't finish the Lucio, you don't finish the Reaper, and you would have been able to kill this guy as well. No, very important. Very important. Okay, so we got some respawns coming back. Force the Reaper out. Nice kill. We got primals, so this is gonna be obnoxious for us. Yeah. He decides to go ahead and use it. Oh, he's gonna get this kill too. Oh no! No!
One dash away.
This is so chaotic. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay.
Oh.
Suzu, come.
Oh.
Okay.
That's so tough.
Now they're just gonna stall point with our ults. Yeah. Okay, but we're coming back. Okay, we got. I don't know what just happened. Anyway.
That's my inner monologue.
This
during the
last
game,
point
bro.
was so scuffed.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, counter engage. Put him off there. Gotcha. Force recall on their part. Our soldier's dead. Yeah, same thing with poke. Guys, if they're taking the corner, just back up to the next one. I swear.
Instead of diving into them, should I just win out?
I think jumping high is really good. Yes, because anytime you can jump high, you basically get a free engagement like 2 seconds later, because you can drop down, bubble if you want, and you're going to get your jump back like 2 seconds into your engagement, so you can like jump back to high ground and be really annoying. I honestly genuinely think that pushing this area as attackers when the defending team can utilize this high ground, if they can and will utilize that high ground, I think it's functionally impossible to push this space. If you're properly using it. But our soldier was a little too close. Didn't play to bait enough. Like, if you want to, it's okay to like peek this corner, but like peek from the farthest angle you can. First of all, like use your cover, and then the moment they start walking up, like they've got Reaper, which is the main difference. So in general, you want to be creating more distance so that when the Reaper's engaging on your team, you have an angle on him, not other way around, ideally. Actually, let me put it this way: if the defending team can and will utilize this high ground, and your team comp can't contest it at all, then it's really like obnoxiously bad. So, like if you're playing Ramatra trying to walk in and they've got a Winston, that's when it's like really bad, because Ram can walk up, but if anyone else tries to walk up with him, they just like cycle forever on them, and it's really bad. But yeah, more careful spacing on our soldier there. Just walking in. Okay. Any questions on that so far? I kind of been just yapping for an hour and a half.
Nice.
Nice.
Real.
No, that
Nice.
was really helpful though. I enjoy more in-depth VODs as well.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
Do you have a favorite? Do you play balloons?
Oh
I
my
did
god.
a few years ago, like 2022,
I'll go for it.
2023.
I'm
my
playing
God.
blues right now.
What's the favorite tower?
I think Sniper Monkey
you have
was
one?
my favorite.
What?
Yeah.
He's just so
Makes sense.
He's too versatile. He's too fun.
I
Yeah,
like-
but then you get the boats, and the boats go
I
crazy.
love
The
the
boats are fun.
Buccaneer.
The
That's my
Buccaneer
new
is.
favorite.
I love Buccaneer money spam. That's pretty good. Actually.
Actually,
Yeah,